What's up, guys? Thank you so much for coming by the Helpful Dreams channel today. If you've been here before, thank you so much for your continued support. And if you're new here, this is where we take the best teachings of all time and put them into a simplified version that we could easily digest in a short amount of time. And I can't tell you how much this has been helping me improve my life, just going through these ideas on a daily basis and really embedding the ideas into what I do on a daily basis. And even the video that we did yesterday on the 7 habits of highly effective people helped my workflow and helped my business. I began to take actions outlined in that book, and it began to improve the processes that I have in my own business. And so it's really awesome. I'm really excited about the one that we have today. We're going to be diving into Atomic Habits by James Clear, and we've prepared a simplified version that has all the key elements that you need to strive to become the best version of yourself. And we're going to roll right into it right now. What exactly are habits? Habits are the accumulated benefit of self-improvement, and when we repeat 1% errors on a daily basis by replicating poor decisions, making minor mistakes, and rationalizing minor excuses, our small choices compound into toxic outcomes. There are 4 behavioral change laws that we can use to create good habits and break bad ones. A habit is made up of a cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. These components are formed in accordance with the 4 behavioral change laws. Law 1. Make it clear. The habit must be effortless for us and require no active thought. For example, when I couldn't remember to take my vitamin D pills, I realized the issue was that I kept these pills on the opposite side of the kitchen. I began taking them more frequently after I placed them in an obvious location that I couldn't miss. Law 2. Make it appealing. If the habit is unappealing, we're unlikely to have the willpower to repeat it. As a result, you should devise strategies to make habits appealing, even if it's something difficult such as going to the gym or studying for long periods of time. Law 3. Make it simple. The less friction there is between you and the habit, the more likely you are to do it. This applies to simple things like packing your gym bag the day before you want to go to the gym or preparing a healthy meal to avoid ordering takeout. Law 4. Make it immediately satisfying. It's a good idea to come up with something simple that brings us joy immediately after we perform our habit. When I go to the gym, I jump in the pool and spend 10 to 20 minutes in the spa. I know it sounds a little excessive, but this little routine makes me much more eager to spend an hour or 2 at the gym. It takes time to form a new habit and break an old one, which is why most people give up halfway through. Time widens the gap between success and failure. Whatever you feed it will multiply. Time becomes your ally when you have good habits. Time becomes your enemy when you have bad habits. It is not because you have lost your ability to improve if you are having difficulty developing a good habit or breaking a bad one. It's usually because you haven't yet reached the plateau of latent potential. Complaining about not achieving success despite working hard is analogous to complaining about an ice cube not melting when heated from 25 to 31 degrees. Your efforts were not in vain. They are simply being archived. All of the action takes place at 32 degrees. The locker room of the San Antonio Spurs, one of the most successful teams in NBA history, features a quote from social reformer Jacob Riis. When nothing seems to work, I go and watch a stonecutter hammer away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without even a crack showing. But it will split in 2 at the 101st blow, and I know it wasn't that blow that did it. It was everything that came before. Instead of focusing on goals, take a system-first approach. Goals are about the outcomes you wish to achieve. Systems are concerned with the process that result in those outcomes. The goal of any sport is to finish with the highest possible score, but it would be absurd to spend the entire game staring at the scoreboard. The only way to truly win is to improve every day. The score takes care of itself. Forget about setting goals if you want better results. Instead, concentrate on your system. Goals are useful for establishing a course of action, but systems are better for making progress. When you spend too much time thinking about your goals and not enough time designing your systems, a number of issues arise. The antidote is a system-first mindset. You don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy if you fall in love with the process rather than the product. You can be satisfied at any time your system is operational, and a system can be successful in a variety of ways, not just the one you initially envision. The goal of goal setting is to win the game. The goal of creating systems is to keep playing the game. True long-term thinking is without goals. It's not about a single achievement. It is about the never-ending cycle of refinement and continuous improvement. Finally, your dedication to the process will determine your progress. You do not achieve your objectives. You are reduced to the level of your systems. Make good habits a part of your identity to help them stick. Our habits should be part of our identity and the foundation for developing it. Most of us get this wrong. We begin with outcomes and work our way backwards to our identity. However, when a habit stems from who we are, it serves as the most effective form of intrinsic motivation. For example, I had to rethink my approach to healthy eating. Before reading Atomic Habits, I assumed that if I wanted to lose belly fat, I should follow Tim Ferriss's slow carb diet, which would turn me into a healthy person. Outcome is greater than identity. However, a correct identity-based approach would be for me to believe that I am a healthy person and that as a healthy person, I will eat wholesome foods and exercise regularly, resulting in reduced belly fat. Identity is greater than outcome. When it comes to self-improvement, most people don't even think about changing their identity. I want to be skinny, outcome. And if I stick to this diet, I'll be skinny, process. They set goals and decide what actions to take to achieve those goals without taking into account the beliefs that motivate their actions. They never change their perspective on themselves, and they are unaware that their old identity can sabotage their new plans for change. Every system of action is supported by a system of beliefs. The goal is to become a reader, not to read a book. The goal is to become a runner, not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a musician, not to learn an instrument. Many people go through life in a state of cognitive slumber, blindly adhering to the norms associated with their identity. I'm terrible at following directions. I'm not much of a morning person. I have a hard time remembering people's names. I'm constantly late. I'm not very good at technology. When you've been telling yourself a story for years, it's easy to fall into the mental grooves and accept it as a fact. The real reason you fail to stick to habits in the long run is that your self-image gets in the way. This is why you should avoid becoming overly attached to one version of your identity. Unlearning is required for progress. To become the best version of yourself, you must constantly edit your beliefs and upgrade and expand your identity. Your habits define your identity. You are not born with preconceived notions. Every belief, including your own, is learned and conditioned by experience. Your habits, in other words, are how you embody your identity. When you make your bed every day, you embody the identity of a person who is organized. When you write every day, you embody the creative persona. You embody the identity of an athlete when you train every day. You only believe your identity right now because you have proof of it. You can demonstrate your religiousness by attending church every Sunday for the past 20 years. You can demonstrate your diligence by studying biology for 1 hour every night. If you go to the gym even when it's snowing, you're demonstrating your dedication to fitness. The more evidence you have for a belief, the stronger your belief will be. This is a gradual process. We do not change by snapping our fingers and deciding to become someone completely different. We evolve gradually, day by day, habit by habit. We are constantly going through microevolution of the self. Each habit is a hint. Hey, maybe this is who I am. If you finish a book, you may be the type of person who enjoys reading. If you go to the gym, you may be the type of person who enjoys exercise. If you enjoy music and play the guitar, you may be the type of person to be a musician. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to be. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to be. Building better habits does not entail filling your day with life hacks. It's not as simple as flossing your teeth every night, taking a cold shower every morning, or wearing the same outfit every day. It is not about achieving external success measures such as making more money, losing weight, or reducing stress. Habits can help you achieve all of these goals, but they are not fundamentally about having something. They are concerned with becoming someone. Finally, your habits are important because they help you become the person you want to be. They are the conduit through which you develop your most fundamental beliefs about yourself. You literally become your habits. If you're still unsure how to rate a habit, here's a question I like to ask. Does this behavior help me become the type of person I want to be? Does this habit support or oppose my desired identity? Habits that reinforce your desired identity are generally beneficial. Habits that contradict your desired identity are usually undesirable. Many people believe they lack motivation when in fact they lack clarity. It is not always clear when and where to act. People who are disciplined are better at structuring their lives in a way that does not necessitate heroic willpower and self-control. In other words, they spend less time in situations that are enticing. People who have the most self-control are usually the ones who need it the least. When you don't have to use self-control very often, it's easier to practice. Perseverance, grit, and willpower are necessary for success, but the best way to improve these qualities is to create a more disciplined environment rather than wishing you were more disciplined. It's easy to get bogged down in the search for the best change strategy. The quickest way to lose weight, the best muscle building program, the ideal side hustle. We are so preoccupied with determining the best approach that we never get around to taking action. Voltaire once said, "The best is the enemy of the good." Why do we do it if it doesn't produce results? Sometimes we do it because we need to plan or learn something new. But more often than not, we do it because motion gives us the illusion of progress without the risk of failure. The majority of us are masters at avoiding criticism. We avoid situations where we might fail or be judged publicly because it doesn't feel good. And this is the main reason why we move rather than act. You want to postpone failure. It's easy to keep moving and convince yourself that you're making progress. I'm having conversations with 4 potential clients right now. You think, this is excellent, we're taking the right steps. I brainstormed some ideas for that book I want to write. Motion gives the impression that you are getting things done, but in reality, you're just getting ready to do something. When planning becomes a form of procrastination, you must make a change. You don't want to simply plan, you should be practicing. The key to mastering a habit is to begin with repetition rather than perfection. You don't have to plan out every detail of a new habit. All you need to do is practice. The first takeaway from the 3rd law is that you simply need to get your reps in. The greater the impediment, the more difficult the habit. This is why it is critical to make your habits so simple that you will do them even when you don't want to. You'll be more likely to stick to your good habits if you make them more convenient. You can certainly accomplish difficult tasks. The issue is that some days you want to put in the effort, while others you want to give up. On bad days, it's critical to have as many things working in your favor as possible so that you can overcome the obstacles that life inevitably throws at you. The less friction you have to deal with, the easier it will be for your stronger self to emerge. When we have a positive experience, we are more likely to repeat it. This is completely logical. Pleasure sensations, even minor ones like washing your hands with soap that smells nice and lathers well, are signals to the brain that say, "This feels good, do it again the next time." Pleasure teaches your brain that a behavior is important enough to remember and repeat. Every habit has multiple outcomes over time. Unfortunately, these outcomes are frequently out of sync. With our bad habits, the immediate result is usually pleasant, but the long-term result is unpleasant. It is the opposite with good habits. The immediate outcome is unpleasant, but the long-term outcome is pleasurable. It almost always happens that when the immediate consequence is favorable, the later consequences are disastrous and vice versa. In other words, the cost of your good habits are now, your bad habits will cost you in the future. Because the brain prioritizes the present moment, you can't rely on good intentions. When you make a plan, whether it is to lose weight, write a book, or learn a language, you're making plans for your future self. And when you picture your ideal life, it's easy to see the value in taking action that will benefit you in the long run. We all want better lives for our children and grandchildren. When it comes to making decisions, however, instant gratification usually wins. You are no longer making a decision for future you who wishes to be healthier, wealthier, and happier. You are selecting the present you, who desires to be satisfied, pampered, and entertained. As a general rule, the more immediate pleasure you derive from an action, the more seriously you should question whether it is consistent with your long-term objectives. The problem is that most people understand that delaying gratification is the prudent course of action. They desire the advantages of good habits to be healthy, productive, and at peace. However, these outcomes are rarely top of mind at the critical moment. Fortunately, you can train yourself to delay gratification, but you must work with, not against, human nature. The best way to accomplish this is to add a little bit of immediate pleasure to habits that will pay off in the long run and a little bit of immediate pain to those that will not. The key to making a habit stick is to feel successful, even if it is in a small way. The sensation of success indicates that your habit has paid off and that the work was worthwhile. In an ideal world, the reward for a good habit would be the habit itself. In the real world, good habits are only worthwhile when they provide you with something. It's all about sacrifice early on. You've been to the gym a few times, but you're not getting any stronger, fitter, or faster, at least not in any noticeable way. It's only after a few months where you've lost a few pounds or your arms have gained some definition that it has become easier to exercise for the sake of exercise. You need a reason to stay on track at first. This is why immediate gratification is so important. They keep you interested while delayed rewards pile up in the background. Immediate reinforcement can be especially beneficial when dealing with avoidance habits or behavior that you want to stop doing. Sticking to habits like no frivolous purchases or no alcohol this month can be difficult because nothing happens when you skip happy hour drinks or don't buy the pair of shoes you want. It can be difficult to feel satisfied when there is no action to begin with. All you're doing is resisting temptation, which isn't very satisfying. One solution is to reverse the situation. You want to highlight avoidance. Create a savings account and name it something you want, such as leather jacket. Put the same amount of money into the account every time you pass on a purchase. It's similar to creating your own loyalty program. The immediate gratification of seeing yourself save money for the leather jacket feels far superior than it being deprived. You make doing nothing pleasurable. It is important to choose short-term rewards that reinforce your identity rather than those that contradict it. Buying a new jacket is fine if you're trying to lose weight or read more books, but it won't help you save money if you're trying to budget. Taking a bubble bath or going on a leisurely walk, on the other hand, are good examples of rewarding yourself with free time, which aligns with your ultimate goal of greater freedom and financial independence. If your reward for exercise is a bowl of ice cream, you're casting votes for opposite identities, and the outcome is a wash. Perhaps your reward should be a massage, which is both luxury and a vote in favor of taking care of your body. The short-term reward is now in line with the long-term goal of being healthy. As intrinsic rewards such as improved mood, increased energy, and decreased stress begin to take effect, you will become less concerned with pursuing the secondary reward. Identity itself serves as a reinforcer. You do it because it's who you are, and being yourself feels good. The more ingrained a habit becomes in your life, the less you need outside motivation to maintain it. Incentives can help establish a habit. A habit is sustained by identity. To summarize, for a habit to last, it must be enjoyable. Simple bits of reinforcement such as smelling a great soap or toothpaste with a refreshing mint flavor or seeing $50 appear in your savings account can provide the immediate pleasure you need to enjoy a habit. Change is simple when it is pleasurable. The phrase "don't break the chain" is a powerful one. If you don't break the chain of sales calls, you'll be able to build a successful book of business. If you don't break the chain of workouts, you'll get in shape faster than you think. If you don't break the chain of creating every day, you'll have an impressive portfolio. The first error is never the one that destroys you. The spiral of repeated mistakes that follows is the result. A single absence is an accident. Missing twice signals the beginning of a new habit. You have no idea how valuable it is to simply show up on your bad or busy days. Days that are lost hurt you more than days that are successful. If you start with $100, a 50% gain will get you $150. However, a 33% loss will return you to $100. In other words, avoiding a 33% loss is just as valuable as making a 50% gain. The first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. Sluggish days and bad workouts keep the compound gains from previous good days intact. Simply doing something, 10 squats, 5 sprints, a push-up, anything is extremely beneficial. Do not enter a zero. Don't allow losses to deplete your compounding. Furthermore, what happens during the workout is not always important. It's all about being the type of person who never skips a workout. It's easy to train when you're feeling good, but it's critical to show up even when you're not feeling well. Going to the gym for 5 minutes may not improve your performance, but it will help you to reaffirm your identity. The key to increasing your chances of success is to select the appropriate field of competition. This is true for both habit change and sports and business. When habits align with your natural inclinations and abilities, they are easier to perform and more satisfying to maintain. You want to play a game where the odds are in your favor. When being better isn't an option, being different is. By combining your abilities, you lower the level of competition, making it easier to stand out. By rewriting the rules, you can avoid the need for a genetic advantage. A good player strives to win the game that everyone else is playing. A great player invents a new game that plays to their strengths while avoiding their weaknesses. At some point, it comes down to who can withstand the monotony of training every day, doing the same lifts over and over again. People discuss getting pumped up to work on their goals. People often say it all comes down to passion, whether they're talking about business, sports, or art. As a result, many of us become depressed when we lose focus or motivation because we believe that successful people have an inflated supply of passion. But according to this coach, even the most successful people struggle with the lack of motivation. The difference is that they still manage to show up despite their boredom. Machiavelli observed, "Men desire novelty to such an extent that those who are doing well wish for a change as much as those who are doing badly." I can guarantee that if you start and stick to a habit, there will be days when you want to give up. There will be days when you don't feel like going to work when you start a business. There will be times when you don't feel like finishing a set at the gym. There will be days when you don't feel like typing when it's time to write. But it's stepping up when it's annoying, painful, and draining that distinguishes a professional from an amateur. Professionals stick to their plans. Amateurs allow life to get in the way. Professionals know what is important to them and work towards it with purpose. Amateurs are swayed by life's exigencies. Author and meditation teacher David Kane advises his students to avoid being fair-weather meditators. Simply, you don't want to be a fair-weather athlete, writer, or anything else. When a habit is truly important to you, you must be willing to stick to it regardless of your mood. Professionals act even when they are not in the mood. They may not enjoy it, but they manage to get the reps in. I've skipped a lot of sets because I didn't feel like it, but I've never regretted doing the workout. There have been many articles that I haven't felt like writing, but I've never regretted publishing on time. There have been many days when I wanted to relax, but I've never regretted showing up and working on something important to me. All right, guys, congratulations on making it to the end of that simplified version of Atomic Habits by James Clear. I hope it was easy to digest, and I hope you can implement these strategies into your life to become the best version of yourselves. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to be posting new concepts daily based on the best teachings of all time. And so I look forward to seeing you guys in the future, and I'll see you in the next one.